Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Perspective. My name's Ethan, and your hosts for the evening are Neil, the 604 Atheist, and BrainBug. Neil, what are you doing?
I was going to call into the show and see if I could convince myself that there's a poltergeist in my apartment. No,
Neil, welcome to The Perspective.
thank you for having me.
For those that don't know you, a quick summary. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a 6'4" tall Canadian atheist, radical kind of guy, and I do a little show called Deconversion Stories over on the YouTubes there, which we're kind of on right now, I guess. And I talk to people about their journeys away from whatever belief systems they were once part of, in a nutshell.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, well, in a nutshell. I'm in a nutshell. Let me out. No.
So good news, we got a few calls coming in, but they are being screened, so we just have to wait for them to be screened before we get the show started.
Awesome.
BrainBug, how you doing?
Hey Ethan, I'm doing good. I'm glad to be on here with Neil. This is so exciting. I don't know. Last time we've been solo on a screen together was when I did my own deconversion story on your channel. So
I believe so.
Yeah, that was last Halloween. So
It was the Halloween special last year.
yeah.
Ooh.
We got to hear your awesome story, and I got to see a bunch of your cute little creepy crawlies.
Yes,
Which,
that's
honestly, that
always
was
a
nice.
trademark. Got a little mantis right here.
I was just going to ask, I
Oh.
didn't see a bug, but if you could, would you mind zooming into it? And we'll put you on screen.
Make her the big screen. Yeah, there you go.
Now, let's see. That lighting's I'm gonna pull it out.
And what's her name?
This one doesn't have a name yet. I wait until they're a little bit bigger than this before I give them names because the mortality rate's so high that sometimes you just lose one.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
So-
green.
Don't want to
small.
get attached to them. It
Green,
is very
small.
small. These ones
Call
are very small. This is
Call him Booger.
about a booger size.
Yeah.
so Wade. Neil actually has been on before. He's been on the Recovering from Religion fundraiser, and
Yep.
he did a show with Aaron Ra on my channel called No Fucks Given. It was a really good episode.
That was
I
fun.
highly recommend checking it out. It was demonetized the second I named it that. For those who don't know, we handle paranormal and supernatural claims, belief in aliens, conspiracy theories, and political claims. And if you have one and you want to talk to either host, call the number at the bottom of the screen, 951-364-2430. Neil, so do you have any exciting interviews, deconversions coming up?
Exciting deconversion stories.
Yeah.
On this coming Thursday, I'm speaking to a gentleman named Reverend Dr. David Breeden, who is a minister of a humanist church. I didn't even know there was such a thing, but apparently
Neither did
there is
I.
such a thing. And we're going to get into that a little bit after we hear how he found his way out of his belief system. So it should be pretty interesting. And then I guess on Saturday, I've just got someone I met on Twitter. She's going to join me on Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Her name is Cheyenne Royce. And yeah, I don't really know too much about her, but except for our interchanges on Twitter and whatnot. She's very funny. So should be pretty fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
And BrainBug, what do you got going on?
I'll tell you what's going on the BrainBug YouTube channel. We are going to be in October. We're doing everything aliens, so we're going all in on the aliens. So expect that when you come into Life in the Hive, that we're going to be having Crypto Corner is going to be full of aliens, and Conservapedia is going to be full of aliens. We're really going to dig our heels into it and kind of break it down. So I'm hoping we get some alien calls tonight to kind of prime my engines.
That'd be cool.
Well, actually, so there is a couple people still being screened, but one of them was grabbed by the auto screener. He's called the show before, so I know I can
Cool.
just go ahead and grab it. This person wants to talk about aliens, actually, and his name is Peter. So I'm going to jump off the show. Neil and BrainBug, it's all yours. Peter, you are now on with Neil and BrainBug.
Hey there, Peter.
Thank you for having me, guys. Hey, how's it
How you
going,
doing, Peter?
Before I start, I'm doing amazing. Life is great. Before
Great.
I start, I just want to say,
All right, can you turn your volume up a little bit? I'm having a hard time hearing
so
you.
much. Oh, hi. Can you guys hear me now?
Yep. It's a little better,
Okay,
but
sweet.
if you can speak, like get right, you can like grab your phone and just go, "Hey, how's it going?" Like you're hanging out with it or something.
Okay, you got it. I just wanted to say thank you for Ethan for always having me in mind, and he's an amazing, wonderful person, and God bless your family.
Well, we appreciate that.
Okay,
Yeah.
You're welcome. So sure, UFOs and aliens. I kind of have like a different perspective when it comes to them than most people. I believe that UFOs and aliens. Well, first off, I think aliens is basically Satan himself with the fallen angels.
What makes you think that?
The same fallen angels that scriptures talked about, especially the Book of Enoch. The reason why I think that is because apparently they have technology way more advanced than what we think, than what we see in a normal modern day life. Like
Wouldn't they have to in order to traverse that vast distances? They would have to, wouldn't they?
Yeah, exactly. So then another thing about UFOs and aliens as well, I don't think they come from other planets or galaxies or very far away. I believe that they are built here on Earth. We have all the resources, all the elements, all the exotic metals that it is that to make them.
Well, they're throughout our solar
we
system.
don't know is how to put them together.
Sure.
That's a interesting perspective on that. So do you, when it comes to other universe or other areas of the universe, do you believe that there's life out in the universe that's different than the satanic aliens, or do you just not believe there's life out there at all?
I kind of believe that we're trapped in this Earth. It's a closed ecosystem.
But we've been to the moon.
I believe
so we're not
that.
trapped here.
Yeah, I don't believe that there's other galaxies or planets or none of that stuff. The stars that we see when we look up are just light. They're not land masses or anything. But
why would you think
like
that?
I said, there could. Excuse me.
Have you ever looked through like a telescope or something like that?
I have.
And have you not seen the planets through the telescope? Like Saturn, especially. It's a beautiful planet. It's got the rings around it and stuff like that.
Very unique looking, though. It's got very distinct.
Actually, all the gas giants have rings, but Saturn's are the most visible.
Yeah,
So,
of course. I've seen them, but what's to say that they're actual of land? Kind of like the moon. Like the moon, we see the moon, but what's to say that it's not just plasma?
We've been there and walked on it.
We know the moon's made of rock.
I thought it was cheese, but that's just me.
Have you tasted it? It might be. But is the moon landing not real? Is that?
Oh
yeah, I guess I should probably ask that.
Because it's to me it's a hoax. A lot of things just don't add up. Like the footprints that they left like on alleged moon, like they don't match the same space boots that like the astronauts were wearing. They actually caught the
wait. How do you know that?
The landing.
How do you know they don't match?
They photographed the footprints and then they showed the spacesuits and they were completely different from the bottom, like the soles of the feet.
And you're sure that you've seen the correct photographs, or just something somebody set up to make it look like a hoax?
Yeah, I mean it could. Well, I mean it's far beyond just the footprints. Also how like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, how they have the song where it goes like, space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. And like,
they're talking about science fiction
movies.
These
are super rich, powerful people.
Talking about Star Wars specifically, I believe.
Yes, they are actually. Yeah.
Or maybe, well, I guess they could have been talking about Star Trek since they said Final Frontier, but yeah, whatever. They're talking about science fiction, right? So you think they're talking about the Chili Peppers are like, are they part of the cabal? Like that keeps this secret? Are they leaking it?
Dude,
Well, the thing about the elites is that sometimes like they like to give us clues or hidden messages, like subliminal
Easter eggs.
messages and stuff. So it could be part of that. Yeah, Easter eggs, exactly.
Okay, so
But
let's get back to the aliens though, because we've went a full circle around, just kind of get we know where your headspace is now though, so we know that we know kind of what your but anyway, go to so aliens are demons. Go.
yeah, aliens are demons because the thing about them is that there's nothing good about them. The abduction, people are terrified about them. It's nothing nice and holy about them. It's always terror.
Holy.
Like, and that's what demons do. They demonize people. And
so
these demons are the same fallen angels that are spoken in the book of Enoch. How there was the devil that fell like lightning and his helpers, which are the fallen angels, and those are the same angels that taught man how to do things, like how to cast swords for war, what drugs to do and stuff like that.
What drugs to do? Oh wow. So you're under the mind that all aliens are like malevolent. Then all alien encounters are malevolent. A lot of people have more benign or even benevolent experiences with what they claim is an abduction experience, which personally I think is maybe some sleep paralysis and or paralysis and things of that nature, but they have a pleasant experience, often comparable to the experience people claim to have when they experience a near-death experience and they feel like they're with loved ones or with angels. They have a experience like that, except for with the alien beings. So is that the same demons that are terrorizing people?
By the way,
so I believe that there could be.
Go ahead, Peter.
Sorry. So I believe that there's demons and angels. Maybe when they have those nice experiences, it could be actually real angels, like angels, not demons.
But do realize
getting confused as aliens.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but they are actually able to reproduce these experiences in a lab setting. Of having these experiences, like there's someone in the room with you, or you're someone sitting on your chest, or you have like you can hear voices. They can reproduce all of these things in a lab setting by tapping into certain places of your brain where these things actually do come from.
And by so many ways, by lighting, by infrasound, by just these subtle differences and changes in your environment, they can induce.
Oh yeah, like the soundless chamber or whatever.
Deprivation chambers are a good example of that type of research. But you can really change the way that especially when you put someone into a deep sleep and then you engage them with all these different techniques to alter their brain state. It's really quite fascinating. So
correct.
Yeah. So when we talk about aliens, are you talking about like the gray aliens with the big black eyes? Are those the demons? Because there's more. Those are the most common in pop culture. But if you get into some of the UFO culture, you'll see that there's a variety of a menagerie, if you will, of alien creatures that are alleged to visit and interact with humankind. So is it just one, or are they all of them malevolent demons?
That is correct, because then there's the grays, there's the reptilians, and there's other ones. I'm not so sure which ones specifically they could all exist. I'm not so sure. I don't know how the fallen angels look. That'd just be like a guess if I were to say.
So,
okay.
Peter, I kind of want to know why you believe this stuff. Like, what convinced you that this is actually the case?
Well,
like tell me, try to convince me that this is the case.
Sure, because when I started reading scriptures, mainly the book of Enoch, how it says that there's fallen angels, they gotta look some type of way. And then when you mix up what's going on, what are people seeing aliens and these creatures. Sometimes I put one and two together. Oh, so in ancient times there's the fallen angels, and in modern times they're being called aliens. So I kind of put them two together, because the fallen angels just have like heavenly wisdom, because they taught man how to do things. Because for example, humans are born without any knowledge. Like if you have a newborn and you don't teach him how to read, how to write, how to talk, how to do anything, he'll be a grown up without not knowing anything.
Actually,
So how
humans
is it that humans are able to build technology and cell phones and stuff like that? It must be coming from a different type of source, not a human source.
What were you going to say about the humans, Neil? I heard you get ready to.
Well, humans are actually born with some innate knowledge. Like we're born with some things that it's I guess through genes, through years and years of evolution, and humans having some innate knowledge by the time they're born, like how to breathe. And
there is a point though where you get to where you can't, where you lose your ability to ever be able to learn language, I believe.
Sure.
Yeah. Age. Like it's 12 or so.
Something like that. And it's much easier to learn when you're earlier.
Yeah.
When you're younger, I mean, because you can. But anyway, that's not really what I'm going about here. Peter, I'm not sure if you're aware, but demons and stuff was usually the culprits for those nighttime visits, like we hear about with the alien abductions back in the day. And then we had things like, especially during the Victorian age, you heard about succubuses and incubuses and stuff that would come and sit on your chest so you couldn't.
The hag,
right? Or the hag, right? There's all kinds of little mythologies all over the globe about these beings that would visit you in the night, and they have all sorts of different descriptions. And because of modern day and modern culture, they're now aliens. So we have alien visitations. I don't know if I would, just because these have been going on throughout history, I don't know if I would. There's an expression: correlation is not always causation, sort of thing. Like you don't always have to make that link. I personally believe that there are other species out there for sure, somewhere. Who knows? But the likelihood is there. But I don't think they're from here, to be honest. But and I find I'm still, and I used to be very convinced that of UFOs and stuff like that. I was an avid Art Bell listener. I've never been into the scriptures because, for me personally, they're mythologies, just like every other scripture that's ever been out there that we no longer accept as being real. So for me, it's just, it doesn't work. Like you're going to have to, I don't know, try maybe a different avenue to try and convince me of this, because I can't take anything especially in the scriptures as being worthwhile accepting, because we can debunk a crap load of stuff out of there. So
I gotta agree with Neil there. When it comes to any of the major religious texts, that's not going to be something I'm going to find compelling. Mostly because the other ones exist that are people making the same claims about them, and so it kind of makes it hard to take any one of them seriously. So, is there anything extra biblical that we should look to in our reality that would convince us that these aliens are demonic?
Well, another belief that I have about why the government and the media is pushing UFOs, because if you compare the media exposure to UFOs now to how it was like maybe 10 years ago, they're trying to keep it secret, but now it's like they're so open about it. The reason why they're trying to push, I believe, UFOs and aliens and the space agenda so much is because, like I said, the devil is basically the alien and his helpers, with the fallen angels. And the reason why they want people to believe in space and in aliens and in UFOs is so that they could bring him about as like the new Antichrist, the new ruler of the world.
Oh,
so that because people believe that aliens are gonna come like at peace or like at whatever, and then they're just gonna accept them. So they're gonna accept aliens, which is basically saying they're gonna accept the devil.
Well, I will say that humans are very susceptible to the notion of a external overarching power that's watching them and controls them and wants them to perform certain acts. So I don't think that's a difficult concept to apply elsewhere. But the media being the source is, I just don't see I don't see the gain there. I don't see being able to keep a lid on something like that with the.
No, you couldn't. There's no way you could.
What I mean, so how do you work that? How do you work that out?
And aliens have been in our culture. Oh, sorry. Just quickly, aliens have been in our culture since the 50s, 40s even. So, War of the Worlds was one of the first radio plays ever, right?
Yeah, the Foo Fighters of World War II.
Yeah.
Not the band, the little flying lights, but the band rocks too. But yeah.
Yeah. So can we agree that UFOs and aliens are real, or what's your take on that?
So UFOs are things that we don't know what they are. They're unidentified flying objects, and I'm definitely on board with that. A bird could be a UFO if you don't know what it is.
They actually prefer the term UAV, unidentified aerial, or UAP, sorry, unidentified aerial phenomenon is what they prefer now over UFO, because many of these so-called UFOs turned out to be just military experimental craft. So,
yeah,
do I believe that there are aliens out there? Probably, but are they visiting us? Why? If they have that kind of technology, imagine being us and like a colony of ants. Like, do we really pay attention to the ants unless, of course, they get in and start eating all our food? But let's. I mean, an alien civilization, we're just going into our solar system now, which I know you don't really believe, but we are. We're going into our solar system. We've had probes out that have actually left our solar system, and one of them's even in almost in intergalactic space now. So, think of a civilization that has that kind of technology that can traverse those kinds of distances to come here and to actually engage with us. They would most likely have to be benevolent, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with the name's not coming to me, but are you familiar with Dr. Micheal by any chance? He's a theoretical physicist.
I used to believe in him. He's like this Asian guy with like long white hair.
Yeah, he's a theoretical physicist. You don't have to believe in him. His ideas are great. I think he's got a lot of cool futuristic ideas. But that would have to be like a type 2 or better civilization that can go. And if you hit that point, you've gotten past the point where you're like us. Everyone wants to kill each other here. We before we could become a type 1 civilization, we'll probably blow ourselves up. But if you make it past that point, then you're most likely it's going to be a benevolent contact. These are going to be, people that want to teach other spacefaring people or beings, we'll say, about their technology, and probably, who knows, could end up joining like the Federation from Star Trek. You never know. But I find it highly unlikely that any of those have been here thus far, based on just like, look at us, man. Look at us. If you were a super advanced species, would you come by here and go, oh, hey, oh, fuck that, I'm out of here. Just keep going, right?
All right, Peter. I think we're gonna probably wrap the call up, because we got a few people waiting on the lines now to get through. But I do want to let you have the last word if you'd like it.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I just when you mentioned that physicist, Micheal, I'm probably like slaughtered his name. I'm sorry.
No, you got it.
But I used to believe in him up until like, it was like he used to come out in the news a lot, like in the Science Channel, and then his claim was that in 2012 there was gonna be like a giant solar flare, that it was happening for sure, that it was gonna like
we did get a flare in 2012.
Prior satellites, and that's the reason why 2012 was going to be the end of the world, because of this solar flare. But then it never happened.
Did he believe this, or was this something that he'd heard? Anyways, I shouldn't keep going.
I think it was.
It's okay.
I mean, I believed it because it was like he's like a professional coming out in media, and he's claiming it, and they wouldn't just allow anybody to give such a claim, So I was young, and I was like, whoa, look at this professional on TV. He's saying that there's going to be a solar flare, is going to be so strong that it could wipe out the whole Earth. But then after 2012, nothing happened, and he just disappeared from TV. Like, he just never showed up again. So I was like, oh, that's when I started catching on to like all this fear propaganda that was going on.
Okay.
All right. Well,
All right,
thank you
but
for
it was
calling
a
us
pleasure.
tonight.
Thank you guys so much.
I recommend you listen
Yeah,
to some
thank
of
you
his
so much.
audiobooks, Peter, if you can. Check it out.
I will.
All
I
right.
will. I'm always doing research and stuff.
Good for you, man. That's good to hear.
You got it, guys. It's a pleasure. Have a good day, guys. Thank you for having
Take care.
me.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Jason.
But you get pulled into the conversation, though. So many different directions to go. There was so much that we could have explored there.
Yeah.
I do want to thank Jason
Big
from
topic.
Dragons and Genesis for his awesome super chat. Neil and Bree, you're amazing host. Keep doing the Lord's work. Thank you.
I like the $4.99. What's the matter? Jason couldn't flip that extra penny. I'm bugging it, brother. I'm bugging it.
All right. So are you ready for our next call? We got Sandra on the line. Nick Ravenhouse experienced supernatural experience in a house with family, saw a ghost, basically. Okay, let's check this out. Hey there, Sandra. Hey, yeah, you're
Hi.
on with Bree and Neil, and I want to hear about your ghost.
Okay, well, this story has been told many, many times at the McRaven house in Vicksburg, Mississippi. This happened in the 1990s. I was with my daughter and then my fiance at the time. We were going to take a tour, and everybody was in the periodic costumes and everything.
Cool.
And so when we got there, they said, okay, well, we're still waiting for more people to come in. So I would like for you to go meet us at the 1700 room on to the right. And I was like, okay, we'll go ahead and go up there. So we walked up the stairs. There was a really tiny stairs. And I met somebody up there right in the middle of the stairs, and she asked me what I was doing. And I said, well, I'm going to meet y'all in the room to the right to start the tour. And she said, no. Meet me in the room to the left. So I said, okay. And the only thing I could see was her skirt. It was like a blue skirt. So I went upstairs with my daughter, who was about maybe 3 years old, and my fiance, and we went up there, and we waited and waited and waited, and we didn't know what was going on. And then somebody came by and said, we have been looking for you all over the place. Where have you been? I said, well, there was a lady there, and that met us right in the middle of the stairs and told me to go ahead and go to the room to the right. She's like, we didn't tell you that. So they asked all the other tour guides, and they asked them, did anybody tell her to move to the room to the right? And everybody was in shock. And everybody was just running around trying to figure out who told me that. Finally, they just said, probably you just met our ghost, who is Mary Elizabeth, who gave birth in this room and died in childbirth.
Oh, wow.
And now she's giving tour guides. Guided tours.
Yep. Now she's getting tour guides.
So,
yeah.
Quick question. When you saw her, did you see her like full figure? Was it, as the saying goes in the field,
The only thing I could see,
a full apparition?
yeah, because the stairs were so thin. It was like a very old stairs, like from the 17 or 1800s. It was very tiny, very narrow. You couldn't really see anything. The only thing I could actually see was her skirt, and it was blue. That's all I could see.
Okay, and you couldn't make out anything else other than her skirt.
Let me ask a quick question here that kind of goes with that. So what do you think the odds are that it was somebody, that this was a thing that they were doing as a prank or gimmick? I mean, honestly, what would you think?
Yeah, we talked about that too. My fiance and I, we talked about that. But the thing is, it was the looks on everybody else's faces You could definitely tell if somebody is playing a trick on you, they're just kind of like laughing or snickering. No, these people were just in shock. They couldn't believe what they heard. And actually, the story has been told over and over again over there, almost on every single tour. I went over there recently to go back and look, and they told me I was royalty because of my story.
Really?
It was also printed in a book.
Wow.
I did not give them permission or anything, but it was printed in a book. And also, it's been told consistently.
Wow.
What's this location called again? The Raven House?
It's called the McRaven House in Vicksburg, Mississippi.
It's in Mississippi? I hadn't heard of it before.
An old,
Neither have I. Actually.
yeah, it's an old 1700s house, maybe, and then some parts of it 1700s, some parts of it's 1800s.
Oh, it's an old
A lot of
plantation
people
house.
died there during the Civil War. I'm sorry?
So it's an old plantation house. So were you going up like a servant stairway in the back then?
Oh, yeah.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah, I did the narrow little stairways they have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's kind of, see, I'll tell you what, Sandra, I used to be very much into this stuff myself, and I had a ghostly experience myself as well, until later on I figured out ultimately what it ended up being anyways. But one of the things that has always kind of bothered me about spirits or specters or ghosts and whatnot is I always think to myself, okay, well, what are they made of? So, well, in your opinion, what do you think they're made of?
I mean, that's just a soul. It's a spirit.
Okay, but what's it made of?
I believe
like, what is it?
I'm sorry?
But what would it be made
I believe
of?
that sometimes people... Go ahead.
No. I was just asking, what do you think these spirits, souls, or entities, or whatever, what do you think they're made out of? Like, what do you think they're made of?
Non-physical entities.
Non-physical, right.
Well,
but they still have to be made of something in order.
Inside, you don't have a body. You also have a spirit. You also have a soul. If the spirit and soul get stuck somewhere, I mean, we're just made more of than just a human body, right?
We are more than the sum of our parts, for sure, and
that's
and there is energy flowing through us. We have electric pulses, but it's contained within our physical body. So
that's right.
What is it that's left behind?
Or what is it after you're gone?
Your soul. So your soul is what's inside. Our bodies are just a canvas,
like a vessel,
of what your soul is inside. So when you go up to heaven, isn't your spirit going up to heaven, or is it that your whole entire body goes up to heaven?
Well,
so
you're going to be hard pressed to get me to accept either one of those prospects.
As a Catholic,
I'll be honest.
That's what we believe. We believe that our spirits go up to heaven, right? When you die.
Yep.
Okay. So what happens if somebody gets stuck?
But see, this is the part that really kind of. See, I'm I've always wondered, excuse me, I've always wondered, what is it made out of? Because it's got to be made out of something in order for us to actually visually see it. It has to be made out
for
of
it to be able to get stuck, like she was talking about.
Get stuck, yeah. So if it's some form of energy needs containment, or else it dissipates into nothing. Well, not nothing, it just dissipates and dissipates and dissipates. Chemistry? Yes, it does. Yes, I'm a chemist. That's what I do for a living. So and this is what I know to be a fact. Like molecules and stuff like that, they dissipate. If they're not contained within something, they spread out and they're gone. They just go out into space and whatnot. So that's kind of one of the things that pulled me away from that whole belief is, and I'll let you right now, I'm an atheist myself. I was actually raised Jewish, but I fell out of that a long time ago. But so for that sort of thing, and I used to believe in ghosts too, until I started, understanding more when I got my degree or whatever in chemistry and stuff like that, which I also did a little bit of physics as well, and it just sort of seems really strange to me that something like that could maintain a form without having something containing it into that space. So for me, I'm not really a believer so much anymore.
So
I'm sorry.
you believe that your body is just made out of cells and
Yes.
that's it? There's no soul, there's no spirit inside of you?
Well, I believe people have spirit, but for me, that clearly means something different than I think what you have. And I do not believe in souls, no.
Okay, so for a spirit, okay, so you believe in spirits. So
Well, not spirits.
where
I believe
the spirit goes when you die?
No, I'm not that kind of spirit. I
What do
mean,
you
we
believe?
have spirit. Like we all have a little bit of
as a brain
like
state
energy.
that you can be spirited.
Yeah. That's why people still use the expression spiritual, because we have in Hebrew there's a saying called ruach, which means spirit, literally, but it doesn't mean like a specter, ghostly kind of spirit. It just means we have what's another word? Chutzpah. I guess it's another Hebrew word that I know, which just means like we have the energy, I guess you could say. Hey, we're all pumped up and ready to go. That kind of spirit. Like, we've got spirit, so do you. We got spirit, that kind of thing, right? So that's what spirit means to me, basically. But yeah, I just, why should, knowing what I know now after going through the schooling I did to become what I am, why should I believe that souls are real when for me, clearly, it just isn't really a thing for me. Like the laws of physics basically forbid it. That's kind of what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's your personal belief. Like right now, I'm sitting right next to another atheist too, but that is your personal belief.
Did you say that you were? Did you say that you were Catholic?
Sure. I am Catholic.
So, in your theology, in your beliefs, in your theology, how does someone get stuck? Is it is something that God's allowing to happen in your theology?
Well, I'm not sure exactly how that works, but unfortunately, in some situations, there is a soul that can't find its way back to heaven, right? So it gets stuck. It remains, or it could be a recording of something that happened in the past that just keeps on going.
Like a replay haunting.
On this situation, it was a little bit more active to me. So to me, it just seems like it's a soul that just doesn't want to leave. It doesn't want to go up to heaven. Most spirits do. Most spirits go up to heaven, right?
Do you believe that it's like part of your consciousness, maybe? Because if you ask me, it would have to be. Because if it would have to be part of your consciousness involved with that.
It's just a personal belief. It's like you believe that you're just made out of your cells in your body. You don't believe that there's anything.
We are atoms and no, that's the scientific fact. Okay. We are atoms and electrons, and stuff like that. That's what we're made out of.
Right.
So
pretty much everything's made out of. Yeah. And then energies, but even energy is matter.
The weird thing is the laws of the universe don't allow these particles that we're made out of to operate after our body has demised. So that's kind of like what I mean. Like, what if they do operate once the vehicle that we are in is finished? What is it that's containing them to keep them in that operating state?
You mean like for your soul? Your soul keeps on going?
Yeah. Because the atoms and molecules involved in that soul would have to be contained in something in order to keep operating that way.
Your body dies. Your body dies and your soul moves on.
But how? That's where I'm kind of lost. I just don't know how.
We expect some kind of dissipation.
I'm not an expert on that, but my belief is that your soul goes, your body dies and your soul goes on to heaven. And in some sad situations, unfortunately, they do get stuck or they just don't want to go. And I guess you don't believe in God either. So that's kind of difficult to talk about with somebody who's an atheist. So unfortunately, everybody has their own beliefs.
Yes, we all do. Sure.
All right. Well, thank you, Sharon, for calling in tonight. It was a pleasure talking to you and hearing your story and kind of engaging with some of your ideas about the way the spirit world works. I don't know if you've convinced me, but you certainly told a nice little a nice story, and I'm glad that they're still retelling it, because what are these tours if not to retell this, even if it's folklore, to retell these tales. But we appreciate your call, Sharon.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon.
Okay, well, that's your belief, but I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. I think we had a couple more super chats. Ethan, let me roll back up to them. Okay, here we go. From Cynthia McDonald, $5. So she didn't skimp on that penny. Neil the 604 atheist, you said, say out. The Canada way. I love that. And blessing to you and Bree for doing such a great job. Thank you, Cynthia. Kyle Brewer gave us $4. Didn't have anything to say, but here's some cash. Love you, Kyle.
Thanks,
all right. So up next, we have a choice between a couple of options. I'll let you be the deciding factor. We have MC. MC has a paranormal experience, wants to discuss the most convincing. And then Tim says he can use a pendulum to answer general questions on a starboard, can also predict the future.
Really? I kind of want to hear some future predictions.
Yeah,
I don't know about you.
Yeah, let's go with Tim.
I know how the pendulum works too. This is going to be great.
Hello.
Hey, Tim. Yeah, you're on with Bree and Neil, and we are very interested in hearing your abilities to predict the future and with the pendulum, and we would love some predictions tonight.
So, okay, I want to give a shout out to Kaitlyn on Facebook. She's from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, DFW chapter group, and she told me about your show. So she's the one that got me on there.
Thank you, Kaitlyn.
Yeah, Kaitlyn.
All right.
So,
yeah, I go by Kim, K-I-M.
K-I-M? Okay, Kim.
K-I-M. I'm sorry.
I'm old and retired.
I'm almost there.
Hey, it's really good. Just do your hardest to retire. It's really fun.
I'm just waiting for my YouTube channel to start making millions. It'll never happen.
Pendulum. First, for the uninitiated, why don't you explain to our audience what a pendulum is and how you use it?
Okay. You can use a nail with a string tied on it, or you can go all up to an elaborate crystal, or like I have a rose quartz, but I use my birch wood pendulum more because it's lighter. The rose quartz, it takes a little bit of time to move, if that's understandable.
Okay. And you said you got a starboard. Can we explain that a little bit?
Yes. Okay. Now, this starboard is got the months. It's got alphabet letters. It's got the zodiac.
Okay.
It's got numbers 1 through 9.
What's it got against 0?
I said alphabet. It doesn't have 0.
You know, the Arabs are going to be very upset. They invented 0.
But it doesn't have it on my board.
That's okay. That's okay. I still have an old Ouija board that I kept for kind of nostalgia purposes. So I found I don't use the Ouija board because the way
people used it, and where they get in trouble is they just let the Ouija board speak on its own. They don't have any discipline. They don't have safety protocols. You know, I'm not into deluding myself. And so I'm real scientific about it. And I vet it and I cross-check it. And I don't come to a final conclusion till after I receive proof or somebody tells me that if I said something, it came through. Okay. In other words, I don't believe in myself till it's actually experienced.
What? Oh, I thought you said you don't believe in yourself. I was going to say, why?
No. I believe in myself.
A little
I
confidence.
don't believe the board. Yeah, I don't believe the board till I experience it.
Yeah, I don't believe in the board
like
either.
If you wanted to ask me a question, I can tell you that the pendulum and the board said yes or no or possibly or whatever, but
it's a little vague,
it's not
isn't it?
the truth till you call me back and say, "Yep, it sure worked."
Okay.
So what I would love to do, and I don't know if Ethan's on board for it or not, but I would love to get a friendly neighborhood prediction from your pendulum. If you got it set up right now, and then maybe we could schedule you to call back in a month and maybe give us some kind of
he's on the board.
Sure.
You know, a follow-up visit.
For instance, yes, like for instance, in March and early April is when I found out. I just did this for myself, nobody in particular, but I was just getting this feeling, and then I go to the pendulum board. So I first have a feeling, and then I go to the pendulum board. Now, there's all kinds of stories about the pendulum. Even the old Spanish explorers in America used pendulums to find gold. So, anyway, to get to my point, in April, early April, I predicted that we would have a new surge in June or July.
A new surge of what?
COVID.
I could have predicted that without a pendulum.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I was talking to it, if you want to say that. That sounds crazy, but you know, there were some things that I felt, and then I just wanted to confirm it with the pendulum board. Does that make sense?
Well, do you know what, when it comes to the pendulum, I did a little research into these things because I used to be a little bit of a believer in that sort of thing myself. I thought you could divine with it and stuff like that. And
right. I don't understand it totally.
Well, let me see if I can help you.
I'm just an experimenter.
Okay, I have a question. First of all, if this method actually works, why aren't people like in the stock market using it? People that are considering buying out other businesses, why aren't they using it? Why aren't kids in college that have a final exam coming up using it? You know, why aren't people that can get answers using this method? I mean, if it's a solid method, we should all be fucking using it, if you ask me, right?
Oh yeah, I'm with you. If I could pick lotto numbers, you wouldn't even know about me.
Probably not, right? You'd be living in a high hog somewhere. But
I wouldn't tell nobody.
Hang on, Kim. One of the things I did learn is we have a little something that we don't even notice and we can't stop. It's called micro motor control. And that is, you can be as still as you want, and you're still going to make something move. It's going to, regardless.
Okay, now,
if you could have it suspended away from you and have it do this, then I'd be impressed.
Yes, and I tried that experiment. What I did was I built a hanger so that it could hold the pendulum, and I wouldn't even touch it. Okay, and I couldn't get it to do it. and I couldn't get an EMF reading either.
Sure. Well, there just might not have been any electromagnetic forces around at the time, but actually, that's not true. They're always
Right,
around.
and that goes back to your other caller. What are spirits made of? I've got an opinion, but who knows? I was raised in a funeral business.
Do you think your pendulum is connecting you to the spirit world?
That's a good question.
It's
natural forces.
Based on experience, it appears that way, but I'm not going to tell anybody that it is that way. I'm still working on it. I'm still experiencing it.
Yeah, so I know research. Obviously, there's natural forces at play. Of course, gravity and electromagnetic forces, idiomotor forces
vibrations of the planet, our body. Crying out loud.
Right.
Can't rule that out either. Everything vibrates at a certain rate. So
yes. Now, when I put it on that holder where I didn't touch it at all, it wouldn't do anything. But now, when I touch my finger to it, just the holder. I touched the holder because it was metal. Then I could get it to move. Okay,
right. That's where the micromotor stuff.
I usually just use it's got a little ball on it, and then I use my stronger hand. So I'm very careful of what if I move that thing, and I don't know how. If I'm moving it, it's very subconscious.
Well, Kim, let's. We're going to give you an opportunity now. All right, if you can tell us a little something that is possible to happen with the show, we'll say. Could you possibly use your pendulum to find out a little bit something that might come up for us in the future?
Yeah,
and then we can have you call back.
I'm not here to prove anything or have an agenda, but no, just see what happens. I'd be interested too.
Sure.
Yeah.
We all would, right? If this shit works, buddy, I'm going to start using that shit to make some money. That's all I can do.
Make some decisions anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have to come up with a different vetted board. Now this board, okay, now don't get excited here, but I'm a little Hindu more than atheist. But I went down to my temple priest here in town, and he did a puja on it. And, because I don't evil spirits or whatever,
I don't think you have to worry, Kim.
I know a little bit about them.
You said.
Okay, go with your question.
Well, I was going to ask you. You said the priest at the temple you went to did something to it. What was it you said he did to it?
There was a puja ceremony.
And what is that?
And that's a Hindu
like a cleansing
ritual, and it's something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like running around with a stage thingy going, getting rid of stuff.
I watch the paranormal shows, and I don't go out in the cemetery or, I'm not in.
I've slept in them before. It's great.
Yeah, I was raised in it.
You were raised in a cemetery? That's kind of weird, dude. I got to tell you.
Well, yeah, I know. You know what I know. My family owned a funeral home, and I worked a lot.
Oh, very cool.
Even restoring old gravestones. That was wild.
Okay, so you did the puja on the pendulum to cleanse it, I guess.
And the board.
And the board. So maybe we could do it this way. Since we're kind of just throwing it at you right here, and you're like, "Oh crap, I'm not really prepared." Why don't you come up with something?
No, I'm prepared.
All right, okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. I got it right here.
All right.
So how does this usually go down? Do we ask
questions?
Okay. Yeah. First of all, give me your question. Try to be a little bit more yes and no, but if you can't come up with yes and no, I'll try to help you. And then after I hear the question, then I'll ask the board.
Mhm.
Well, first of all, I'll ask the board, do you want to answer the question? You know, and do you want to talk to them, kind of a
Dude,
deal.
it's an inanimate object.
And then we'll go from there.
Do whatever you want. All right. So
Yeah.
we're talking about a board here. Do I need a gavel or something? Like,
Judge Neil.
so we're having a board meeting.
I'm not going to give any advertising away where I got it. So
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We don't need a strike here on YouTube anyways, but okay, so you want a question. So Bree, what do you think? What do you think we should ask him?
I'm kind of wondering if ask a question about the show, because this is kind of relevant. Do you think I'm gonna lose my audio? Do you think that to the board that the perspective will take off?
Yeah, will it become a very popular show?
Will it be successful?
Yes.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a general, you know. Okay, hang on just a second. Okay. Who's talking on the board right now?
Right.
Who's at the board right now?
Just take your finger and flick them off.
Yep. Who wants to answer this question? Okay. I've got to read who wants to do it, and they said, yeah. Okay. Will the podcast, The Perspective, with Neil and 604 Atheist and BrainBug, and where y'all from?
He's Canadian. I'm American.
Well, I'm Canadian. I'm from the Vancouver, British Columbia area.
Okay. It's on the internet.
West Coast.
On YouTube, The Perspective podcast. Will they be successful in the next 6 months?
Well, hold on, Kim. It's not always Bree and me. There are multiple hosts that do this show. So, just in general,
right, I understand.
Show...
Well, I just had to sort of get the board.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay, it says yes. All right. And is there a little bit more specific request in what that success would? In other words, how we can actually determine what success is.
Let's say 3,000 or 50,000 subs by New Year's. That's what Ethan said. 50,000. 50K.
Subs
how much?
This coming New Year's. 50,000.
60K.
50K.
No, 50,000. Yeah, 50,000.
Okay.
By the New Year.
Okay, board.
Or shortly thereafter.
Yes. Right. Okay, so by January 2022, will they have 50,000 subscribers? Okay. Now, on my board, it says possibly. Does that make sense?
Of course it makes sense, but it's very vague.
Very vague.
Yes, but the thing is, though, is that with the future, it always depends on what you do to make it happen. Okay. Now, if you don't do anything, it says possibly. But if you do something, you know, put a little bit of a stick in the water, you know, kind of deal, then you have more of a chance. Now, that sounds like a logical question, but
Kim, could I have gotten the same answer from a Magic 8-Ball?
Yeah.
At least you're honest.
What? Oh, you mean? Oh, I'm sorry. You're not asking a question. You're making a statement.
No, I'm asking. Could I have gotten a similar prediction just by using a Magic 8-Ball? Because I had one of those as a kid, and I used to love it. So
I don't know. I just do what I do, and
I got you.
Just go along with it, and I'm always trying to vet the board. I mean, if the board ever lies to me, I'll burn it.
Yeah. Just FYI, possibly isn't actually a prediction. It's too open-ended to be a prediction.
But you have, if you don't do anything, if you just keep going the way you're going and doing what you're already doing, okay, then it's a possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but
A possible, probable.
It's also possible
just think about it. You know, if you don't go out on a date, or if you don't go looking for a job or whatever, you know, you're not going to get a job. Okay, that's doing nothing. Okay, so if you don't do anything, there's a possibility. Now, what we can do? Let me change it up. Okay, and let's see. This is September. How many subscribers do y'all have now?
My personal channel or this one?
This channel has about
this channel
has about 2,500 right now.
Yeah,
2,500. Okay, all right.
46 or something like that.
Let me ask it another.
I have
question.
about the same on
now.
My
This
channel.
is going to be less than 50,000. Will the podcast, The Perspective, have 5,000 subscribers by January 2022?
I can answer that. See, I've already bribed a bunch of people, so yeah.
Okay.
I'm
and
kidding.
it does say yes. So you know, at least you'll have 5,000. I don't know if that'll help you, but
you know. I wouldn't turn my nose up at
5,000.
But
Kim, you're a hoot, man. I got to tell you.
I tell you what, Kim, if January rolls around and we hit that 5,000, we'll have you back on the show to say, yep. See,
give us a call back anyway.
Oh yeah.
In the new year.
I'm just a seeker like y'all. I'm not really an atheist, but I'm a free thinker, and so I don't want to really conclude any. I'm an independent, not a Democrat or Republican.
You're a Democratic Republican?
No.
Oh,
I'm an independent.
Ah.
Not a
I'm
Democrat.
not a Democrat or Republican.
Gotcha.
Yeah. In other words, I'm just an existentialist, I guess.
All right. Well, we appreciate your call tonight, Kim. We do got to move on because we do have some calls waiting. But
fun chatting with you.
Sure, that's all right. And thank you so much. And everybody be good to themselves.
You too. I tried.
You too.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Absolutely.
Oh, what'd you think of that? Divine Disbelief, $5. Absolute proof for the multiverse is coming on March 25th, 2022.
Nice.
Look at
Nice. They believe they've actually something I guess happened somewhere at the edges of our known universe. It bumped into something, so they think that that's what they're making of it, that there might actually be another bubble universe out there.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
I know.
Stuff. All right, we got Shane the Skeptic, $5. When a cause ends, so too does its effect.
Yeah.
Brain activity causes consciousness, subjective awareness, brain activity ends.
That's correct.
I couldn't agree more, Shane.
It's absolutely perfect.
All right. Let me see who we have waiting in the queue right now.
That's what Sean Carroll says too, by the way, about that stuff. He's a physicist.
All right. So we have Darren from Australia wants to talk about his belief in life after death.
Ooh.
Release the book Evidence of Life After Death. Yeah, let's see what they.
I heard about the book.
Oh, never mind. They dropped off.
It's not really evidence, though.
That's too bad. They're not on the line.
I was all ready to go.
Let me see. All right. Let's see. We got Mick Bear. And I'm not seeing a go live on it. Oh, here we go. Here we
You
go.
got it?
Hi, Ethan.
Hi.
Sorry, I was way down there. My bad. Right. Mick Bears, you're on with Neil and Bree.
Hey, man.
How you
Hey,
doing?
How you doing?
we're doing pretty good.
How y'all doing? Good. All right. What
You had
would y'all like to talk about?
You had a paranormal experience. I'd like to hear about that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I had a lot throughout my life. Like I guess I can start like when I was little, if you want.
Okay. But would you have a story or something?
When I was yeah. Well, it's not really a story. It's just like something that happened to me.
So
Okay, an experience.
whichever one's the most compelling, whichever experience you had, you think would be the most compelling and convincing for us, that's the one that we would like you to lead with.
Okay, well, one time when I was about 26 or so, I'm 36 now.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was living in the country, I used to smoke in my car, and yeah, it wasn't because of the smoke or anything like that, but I was hotboxing like normal, and all of a sudden, like I just felt like a pressure on my chest, like just pushed me down on my seat, and I was just like stuck in my seat, like I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't yell, like I tried yelling for help, I couldn't, I was freaking out. I was like, what the hell is happening?
It's happened to me too before.
Huh?
I said that exact situation has happened to me as well. Twice, actually.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Dang.
In my case, it was sleep paralysis.
Yeah, well. Oh, really?
Yep.
It was around 12 o'clock at night, so.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know, but like my father, he told me that our house is like haunted, like it had like evil spirits around there, like
evil.
I don't know if it's true or not, but he said like that's what he felt like when he was at the house. And shortly after that, like I had a back accident. I fractured my spine.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
And it's cool. And
no, it's not.
I was walking funny, like I was walking like a pretzel, like basically, like my body was all twisted, like.
Buddy,
it was an ugly time.
I've got sciatica.
Okay.
I can relate.
So, have you researched anything about sleep paralysis? Had you looked into that when you had this experience?
I read up on it, but I don't know. Like I was fully awake. Like I was in my car, just like I said, I was just smoking weed.
Yeah, and you were probably kind of drifting, and your body went into it ahead of you. That's how that kind of works. Like they can reproduce this stuff in a lab, dude.
Oh, really?
Yep. They can make you have that exact same experience.
Yeah, we were talking. That was our very first caller. We got a little bit into that. They can change different things about your environment to make you experience different feelings. Infrasound is an amazing. It's these low frequency vibrations that
certain areas of the brain.
We're just now starting to understand that makes you just feel like fear and being very uncomfortable. They think that it might have something to do with the frequency of the roar of a big cat and how it affected our ancestors, but they're not completely sure yet. It's still in its infancy.
Pretty cool stuff, though.
Wow.
Must have been freaky though to have that experience, though, right?
It was like I was scared shitless. Like I jumped out of my car as soon as I could. I was like, why? Like I was more freaked out as why couldn't I breathe or talk? Like
Right.
I couldn't yell. Like I was like on mute.
It's the
or some
worst
shit.
feeling. The first time it happened to me, I experienced exactly what you were just talking about. The scared, I couldn't talk, I couldn't scream, I couldn't yell for mom. And then then I learned about it, about what things can cause these. And then the second time I had said, oh, here we go. And I just wrote it out. And it took a few minutes, but I finally came to again and was able to move.
There's some visual and auditory hallucinations you can have at that time too. They're called hypnopompic dream states because you can't break yourself away from your mind generating images and sounds that aren't actually there. It can be terrifying. It can be. I know when I had my sleep paralysis, it was just for a short little window of time in my life when I switched to this weird sleeping schedule. I started having them fairly regularly, and there would always be a little visitor that'd come into my room. In my brain would every time would fabricate it the same way, and it would terrify me. This was back when I was more of a believer in this stuff, and before I really understood it. And it was actually researching this specific thing that kind of started leading me down the skeptical path that I'm on.
Yeah. Yeah, you know.
Have you all heard of shadow people?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You see shadow people a lot?
I saw one when I was real little, when I was like about 6 or so.
Did you like look at it straight forward, or was it something like out of the corner of your eye?
You see, my house, the back door used to have like a window on the door.
Okay.
And I swear I heard the window open, and I heard something jump in, and I heard it like hooves, like from a horse, like walking down the hallway. I was like, what the hell? And I was sleeping with my parents, so I looked up, and all I saw was red eyes, like just looking at me. And I got scared shitless, and I just covered myself. And I woke up my parents. I'm like, Mom, Dad, like there's something there. And they're like, there's nothing there. And I'm like, I saw some eyes. Like what? I heard a dog. I heard something. Like, And then I read up on it, and they were saying that it was like shadow people or something.
Yeah, I've heard about the shadow people too. I personally haven't seen one, at least that I would consider to be. I've seen things move in the corner of my eye and stuff, and then you're like, but that's actually just your brain filling in information.
What was that? Interesting.
The funny thing is,
I saw a ghost one time when I was in jail.
Well, funny thing is, I'll let you. I'll tell you a little something here. Our brains lie to us all day, every day, because when you're seeing things and experiencing things, your brain is what's putting that all together, and it's constantly fucking up. Like it's trying its best to go off of referrals from your memory or whatever. And
your memory is just as flawed. It's just made up stuff too.
So every time you'll go, what the hell was that? And then it's not there because your brain was sorting. It's almost like it was sorting through things and giving you a little sort of peripheral visual of that whole process going on. So that's what sometimes that can be. So and we are very susceptible to hallucinations to that respect as well, even without drugs, believe it or not.
And you can prime yourself in certain environments to have hallucinations too, especially when you're nervous. Because it's better for your brain to make something up that's not there than for something to actually be there and you not respond properly. So when you're agitated, your brain's automatically say it's looking for problems, and it will make up its own if you don't give it some.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, some pretty neat stuff, dude. I'm actually currently, I already have like kind of a degree or whatever certification in chemistry and some other stuff as well. But I'm very interested in neuroscience and how the brain works. So I'm taking some courses online currently. And one of the first things they tell you is don't trust your brain.
What do you think of Neuralink?
Neuralink?
The thing that Elon Musk is making. Yeah.
I think it's possible.
they're already pulling memories out and putting them on pictures. You can see your memories on a computer screen. You can see your dreams on a computer screen now.
Yeah, that freaks me out, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's cool and scary in a way.
Yeah,
it is kind of freaky because it's almost like an invasion of privacy to some degree.
Yeah. But, who knows what the future holds with that technology, though? You may be able to. All right. Well, we're about running out of time here, so we're gonna have to move on to our last caller. But we'll let you wrap up here if you want to, MC.
All right. Well, well, it's kind of hard to talk about the paranormal without mentioning like God and the devil and stuff like that. But
they're part of it, so sure.
I think like the whole God and devil thing. I think they represent an atom, because an atom has both a positive and a negative, right?
Yeah, electrons. Yeah, I mean, if they exist, then they have to be made of them.
That's the way I feel about God and the devil. Like first came the positive, then came the negative. But
they're all around one atom. Like,
huh?
They both circle the atom.
You can't really have a positive and a negative. There's no negative to weigh good against without evil, kind of the thing. You can't have good.
The negative have to be together. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other.
On a binary system.
But there's also, now let's not forget, we have electrons and protons, but we also have anti-protons and anti-electrons as well.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they got the name wrong when they said atom. Like I think they meant atom. You know what I mean?
I see what you did there.
All right. Thanks for calling us up tonight, MC. And if you have any other compelling stories, definitely feel free to give us a call back. We're here every Tuesday. We go live at 7 Central Standard Time. We always very open to all kinds of calls, as you can see tonight. We've had the gamut of different calls. And speaking of, all right, you have a good night there.
Thank you guys for having me. You too.
Take care, bud.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
All right, so we have a few more super chats to go through. Yeah, left, right, left. $14.99, a generous $14.99 just because, and also Team Bandaid. Yes, Bandaid will probably be popping in here. Cynthia McDonald again, $5. I had sleep paralysis once watching PTL TBN. I took it at a time the devil did not want me to watch PTL and TBN. TG for that's the freedom for religions. Yeah. Oh, we skipped right over Kenneth. Ameet, yes. You want to read this one?
Ameet Mathew, $5. Interesting fact. Wallet sciatica is a type of sciatica that comes from sitting like you would if you had your wallet in your back pocket. And actually, Ameet is very correct. That was part of the thing that caused mine. Actually, and I also got rear-ended in a car accident. And Kenneth Leonard, $9.99. There we go. People just can't do that extra penny. Thanks, Kenneth. I'm just bugging you.
It's an American thing.
If a kid asks where rain comes from, I think a cute thing to tell him is God is crying. And if he asks why is God crying, another cute thing to tell him is probably because of something you did.
Oh,
cute or evil?
I would trust Kenneth with all my kids and teaching them stuff, teaching
Kenneth's
them the ways of the world. Kenneth is awesome.
I wish you'd pop into my after parties more often. Punk.
All right. So we got our last caller for the night, which is Darren from Australia. I was hoping to get a chance to talk to him earlier because Darren is an author, and I actually pulled his book up. Darren, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, guys. How's it going?
Going well.
Doing all right. So you You wrote a book about evidence for life after death. Is that right?
Yes, I did. I only wrote it last year while we were in lockdown. I had about 6 months with nothing to do, so I decided I'd write a book about the experiences that I'd had in the last 40 or 50 years of my life.
Okay.
We would like to hear about your most compelling experience, if you got one to share.
Look,
Can I ask you a quick
few,
question?
and I'll just give you a couple of quick ones. One of them was my little girl, my daughter Summer. She was 2.5 or 3 years old at the time, and she was playing happily on the floor in her bedroom, about 20 feet away from where I was sitting in the lounge room. And I heard her giggling and talking to herself. And then all of a sudden she got up, she ran out of her room, ran down the short hallway and started running around the sofa. And she kept turning back and looking behind her. And she said, "Stop it, stop tickling me." And she did this for quite a while. And I thought she was just playing a game. And she came up to me quite concerned. And she says, "Dad," she says, "will you tell Nanny to stop tickling me?" And I said, "What do you mean Nanny's tickling you?" And she said, "She's chasing me." And my mum had passed away about 1 year before that. And I thought she meant my mum, because we'd often talked about my mother who'd passed away. And I said, "What, my mum?" And she said, "No, Mummy's mum in the Philippines." And I thought this was really quite strange because she'd never mentioned her grandmother in the Philippines ever before. So anyway, I didn't think anything of it. And about half an hour later, I get a phone call from the Philippines from my brother-in-law to say that about 45 minutes ago, their mother had passed away in the Philippines. Now, something else that my daughter said was, "Nanny's chasing me because she's got legs now." But when I last saw my mother-in-law in the Philippines, she had both her legs amputated and was in a wheelchair due to diabetes. And at the airport, she said to me, "Darren, I really wish I had legs because I'd love to chase my grandkids around and tickle them." And that's just one story there, that the timing couldn't have been better. Could just be coincidence, but it was very, very uncanny.
Sure.
So
Had
with
your daughter,
go ahead.
Quick question. Had your daughter ever met Grandma from the Philippines?
Well, yes, but she was only about 9 or 10 months old at the time. She was just sort of starting to walk. And she had, I'm sure she didn't remember her grandmother at all. And also, she had never mentioned her at all for the 2.5 years we had been back in Australia after leaving the Philippines. She had never once mentioned her grandmother in the Philippines.
Was there pictures of Grandma around the house at all?
That was my next question.
No, there wasn't actually. No, there wasn't. I can't think of anything around the house that would reference her grandmother in the Philippines.
No FaceTime talks with the computer?
I mean, her grandmother. No, we didn't even have FaceTime or anything like that happening.
Okay.
My wife comes from a sort of like a remote village in the Philippines. It sort of didn't have internet access. Only like one person in the street had a telephone. So there was no sort of technology like that happening. And also, she wasn't sick at the time. She was, apart from having her legs amputated a few years before, there was nothing actually really wrong with her. No one expected her to pop off at any time.
Okay.
So for the fact that my daughter, to say that she was being chased by her right about the same time as she had just died 5,000 miles away, I just find it really strange.
Sure.
It is an interesting story. Definitely a little bit of mystery to it, considering that your daughter might not have known. Now, had your daughter ever heard you guys even talk about the amputations or anything along those lines?
Look,
I know that could be pretty traumatic.
I don't think so. Yeah, look, we'd had so much going on in our lives because I had my best friend pass away and my mum had passed away. To be honest, we didn't really talk a lot about the family in the Philippines because we had a lot going on with our family in Australia.
In Australia, sure.
So yeah, we hardly ever mentioned the Philippines, to be honest. It sort of wasn't on our minds at that time. Hadn't been for a long time. But what else happened after that was that my daughter, she was about 10 at the time. This was about 3 or 4 days after her grandmother in the Philippines had passed away. And she woke up and she saw a little girl, which she identified as being Filipina, standing in a white dress at the bottom of her bed. This would have been about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, it wasn't unusual for us, because we have Filipino friends, to have people come and visit. And my daughter looked at this little girl and said, "Who are you?" And she said, "I'm Lola." Now, my daughter told us at dinner that night, she said, "Who was that little girl in my room this morning?" And we said, "There wasn't any little girl in your room this morning." And she said, "Well, didn't we have some Filipino visitors come over?" And we said, "No." And she said, "Well, there was a little girl about 6 or 7 standing at the bottom of my bed in a white dress. And she told me her name was Lola." Now, my wife dropped her knife and fork and nearly knocked over her drink on the table. And she got all upset. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "Well, Lola is the Filipino name for grandmother." So we honestly believe that Lola, Granny from the Philippines, had also come and visited my other daughter about 3 days after she passed away.
Did your daughters know her name? They I mean, surely they knew their grandma's name. I know when we were in.
Well, they always called her. Yeah, my family's originally from England. I moved to Australia when I was 3 years old with my family. Now, we usually call our grandparents Nana, or Nanny, or Grandma, or Grandmother.
Sure. Yeah,
I've never called anyone Lola, including my mother-in-law in the Philippines. We never called her Lola. Never used the word Lola around the house or anything like that. It's possible that my daughter could have picked that word up, but she swears that she saw this little girl, as plain as day, just standing, quite pretty, standing at the bottom of her bed. So what my wife did eventually was she got some pictures of her mother when she was about 7 or 8 years old, and she showed them to my daughter, Danielle. And Danny confirmed that little girl standing at the bottom of her bed was indeed her grandmother.
Okay. I guess what I was getting at was more that if your daughters knew your grandma's their grandmother's name, that they may have used her name instead of the Lola. But I get what you're saying now, that it was presented as a child.
Yeah, we just don't sort of. Yeah, in my house we sort of. I mean, it's not my choice, but we always just speak English. My wife never taught any of us Filipino.
Okay. We were just talking a little earlier about some occurrences that can happen, and I remember being a kid and seeing some pretty weird shit too when I was a kid. But usually it came along with almost like a sleep state, you might say. Like, you've heard of sleep paralysis and stuff like that. We'd mentioned this a little earlier in the show. That can also cause hallucinatory type things, and if there's preconceived knowledge of some stuff, that might, come out in these sort of hallucinations. And kids have fantastic imaginations too.
And
sorry,
ahead.
Bree. My point is, do you think that it's possible that there is another explanation for the phenomena?
Darren, did we lose you?
Strange encounters.
Oh, we go. Can't really hear you, Darren, so I don't know what's
Darren?
going on.
I'm sorry. Is that any better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The reason I wrote the book is because I've had about 30 or 40 such experiences, both myself, my wife, my kids, my parents, my brothers and sisters have all had something like that and contributed to the book. Some of it you could write off, a lot of it you could write off, but some of it is just, I believe, unexplainable.
Okay.
I would love to explore more deeply into this. Unfortunately, we're just out of time. We're definitely past it. But
another time, and
That'd be really cool to talk to you again, dude.
Like when my sister called her husband an hour after she died. I'd really like to.
Oh yes, I want to hear about that.
It
That
just cannot
sounds.
be explained away. I'm sure. Yeah.
All right, and your book's on Amazon. Evidence for Life After Death.
It's on Amazon. It's available as an ebook and a paperback, and any proceeds I receive, I put back into advertising to sell more books because I just want people to hear these stories.
Yep. All right.
Sure.
Well, thank you, Darren. Appreciate your call, and definitely call
thanks,
back
Darren.
with some more of those cases.
Yeah, I hope I'm hosting or
I
co-hosting.
certainly will.
Yeah.
It'll probably be next week.
This will get Neil back over here too.
Thanks very much.
Hey, thanks,
Okay,
Darren.
all the best. Great show. Thank you.
Bye, Darren.
Bye.
Well, Neil, what did you think of your first episode?
Fun, and I want more.
You really just dove right in. It was like a seal to water, like a seal pup going into the sea.
So the real question is, has your needle moved on any of these topics based on the callers we had today?
No. Because remember, I was there. I was where those folks are at one time. And I was able to break through what I thought was real and get away from it. I went, after years of trying to figure it out and experimentation and whatnot, and I was just like, no, this, and then, and you read stuff like, like claims of the consciousness somehow surviving the body, which persists when we're done with the body. And it's not possible. Right. So it's literally the laws of physics do not permit that.
Yeah, I was really happy to see how well you took to it, because I want you to come back and host with me again sometime, Neil. That was
great.
Great.
Yeah, totally. I'd totally love to do it with you again.
So for those who don't know, we do a Discord after show where both hosts are going to join us on Discord. We have a conversation, talk for a little bit, discuss the show, and answer any questions you have. Would like to thank top tier patrons: Cindy Plaza, Left Right Left, Kenneth Leonard, Skye, JumpandShoot, Oz, Secular Rarity, Philip Leitch, Kaitlyn Beyond, Toast, Richard Gilliver, Sunset Sarge, Meet Mathew, Ray Sylvester, and Kyle Brewer. Thank you for your patronage. I'll be back Thursday night with Hannah Vaughn to host The Pickup Line, which is a show on dating, relationships, and sex. This week, we'll be discussing relationships and dry spells. Before we get out of here, Neil, when's your next, what's your show schedule?
Coming up on Thursday, I have the Dr. Reverend guy that I'll be, David, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Reverend Dr. David Breeden, who is the minister for the Humanist Church. Now, don't freak out, guys. It's not actually a religion. It's just the whole objective behind it was, how you have community at churches. Well, he figured I'll do a humanist style church so that we can still have a community for non-believers as well, or secularists and stuff like that. And that's basically what it's about. We'll hear more about that, and we'll also hear his journey away from his former beliefs.
Sweet. And BrainBug, when's your next one?
Saturday, 9:30, live from the Hive. Every week, we do a little bit of busting cryptozoology and things like that. We make fun of Conservapedia's badly written articles, and we have bugs, lots and lots of bugs. So come check it out.
You know what? And one more thing I wanted to do, but I just haven't had the time, is start another segment where we review like the calls that came in and go over each claim they make, like one at a time.
Sure, that'd be fun.
Yeah, kind of break it down.
Exactly. Especially like the reason I wanted to do that specifically was we had a couple of COVID calls that they claimed COVID was a hoax. And it's like, no, it's not. But if you don't properly object to every single medical claim they're throwing out, some dangerous information can escape, and that freaks me out. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to go back and review some calls. So anyways, like and subscribe, join us in the Discord after show. And if you have any friends or family that believe in the paranormal, the supernatural, or some conspiracy theory, have them call every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Good night.
I mean, I'm not sure I'll ever use the ass blaster again or whatever it's called.
All
Whatever
right,
the
I'm
last one
also
was.
wanting a clip of Shannon saying, "I will never use the ass blaster again."